I don't know who made these. Some of these might be government propaganda. They come from or through a government-controlled social media app, but I can't believe that China would want the world to see this kind of uprising. I don't understand why I can see these on TikTok. Some of these have very amateur or even childish writing on them. That's the nature of TikTok. That's just how they are. That's citizen journalism in 2022, I guess, from a foreign country. Some of these might, for all I know, be from a different city or even a different year. So I don't know the quality of what I'm showing you, but this seems real to me, and it certainly seems more real to me than any reports you're going to get from Trudeau's CBC or Toronto Star. There are some interesting things in these videos. I'll show you a bunch. For example, some people are holding up literally blank pieces of paper, blank protest signs, and shouting, "You know what I want to say," and literally being arrested for that because everyone knows what they want to say. And that's done to get around censorship, both online and in person, I think. They're trying to stay ahead of artificial intelligence. China is the world leader in AI. That's the only way to do censorship at scale, as they say. You really couldn't censor 1 billion or more people all typing things together. You would need machines to do that. You couldn't do that with just human police. Now, machines can learn, but maybe people are still quicker. This is fascinating, and the fact that it's happening at the hands of Chinese people is amazing to me because it certainly has not happened because of anything Joe Biden or Justin Trudeau or Jacinda Ardern or any other pro-Chinese politicians in the West has done. So now, in no particular order, I'm going to show you a bunch of TikTok videos. And I'm going to give you some very quick thoughts in between. And let me just tell you right now, so these aren't in order. Some of them are really goofy and amateur, but I think that's life online in a dystopian time, isn't it? Here, let's run through them, and if they get too boring, I'll cut this short. Let's take a look at some of these videos. There's a few I put in from TikTok, from Twitter, but most of them are from TikTok, which is a weird thing to do, by the way. Here, let's take a look.
Historic protests are taking place across China. Here's what you need to know. For the first time since the start of the pandemic, large protests have broken out in multiple Chinese cities, opposing the country's zero-COVID policy. The rare and historic demonstrations were triggered by a fire in western China last week that killed at least 10 people in a residential building. It happened in Urumqi city in Xinjiang region, which has been under lockdown since August. Many protesters blamed COVID rules for hampering rescue efforts and preventing residents from escaping the burning building. For the first time, some protesters have openly called for the country's leader, Xi Jinping, to step down. Normally, saying that out loud in China could get you jailed. In some footage, hundreds of protesters could be heard saying they want freedom, not PCR tests. At a prestigious Tsinghua University in Beijing, where President Xi studied, students called for democracy and the rule of law. Some protesters were taken away by police. Many others have taken up a silent but powerful form of dissent, holding up pieces of blank paper. It's a protest against China's censorship and a show of grief for those who perished in the fire. Will China change its mind on its zero-COVID policy? What the country's leader do next could have major public health and political consequences.
I think that was a report from Vice News, and I salute them. I think that was a very honest and candid report. Very tough to do journalism in China. I don't think that reporter is actually in China. I don't think he would be allowed to broadcast that, but he gathered that footage. I thought that was an excellent report, and I find that credible. Wasn't that interesting about the blank signs and still people being arrested? He mentioned Tsinghua University, which is the Harvard of China, so they say. The fact that they're talking about democracy is incredibly encouraging to me. What even are they doing? So you got this guy full hazmat, and then a bunch of people not with masks sticking out their tongue and poke, 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 poke in their mouth. But what's he even doing with it? They're leaving immediately. Doesn't look like he can't be getting some result. He can't be documenting things. They're just going through this degrading form of invasion and torture. What even is that? I don't know, but you can imagine that that's more invasive and more punitive than anything we put up with here in the West. It's the worst of the West, of the worst of what they did in Melbourne and Montreal and Toronto, the worst of it all. And they've been ramping it up. They literally have a COVID zero approach, and add on to that even harsher censorship and harsher authoritarian police than we've ever had in the West. No wonder they're rising up. This is an incredible moment. And I hope that they have success, and I hope they are not crushed under the jackboots of the Communist Party as they were at Tiananmen Square a generation ago. What you just saw was an excerpt from my nightly show, the Ezra Levant Show. Every weekday, I do a monologue. Usually it's about half an hour. Then I interview an interesting guest, and then we read my hate mail or my fan mail, whichever is more fun. It's only available behind a paywall, though. That's how we pay our bills here at Rebel News. We don't take a dime from Justin Trudeau. But the good news is it's only $8 a month, about half the price of Netflix. And in addition to my nightly show, you also get weekly shows from 4 other friends here at Rebel News. So you're getting 36 shows a month just for $8. I think it's worth it. And even if you're not quite sure, do it anyways, because we rely on viewers like you to keep us free and independent. I promise you I'll never take a dime from Trudeau. Just go to rebelnewsplus.com and click subscribe. Thanks.